Blessed evening. You are listening to Bold Moves Radio. The show is Prudent Woman with myself, Rhulani Baloyi. You are welcome. Thank you for joining us once more again this evening. In tonight's show, we're going to have a great time as we continue to celebrate mothers. Today, we celebrate mothers who have gone all out to be mothers, whilst at the same time, they make their mark in the marketplace. Today, I am not alone. I have with myself, Sis Tsakani Mpofu. She's the Managing Director for Muboni Properties. Sis Tsakani, you are welcome. Good evening. Good evening, Sis Tsakani. Can you hear us?
Good evening, Rhulani. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Sis Tsakani. We are excited. I know our listeners will never remain the same. Sis Tsakani, the Managing Director for Muboni Properties. I also have with me Sesiman Lamabunda. She's a dietitian by profession. She is the owner of Masana Dietitians. But this woman, she went all out and broke the ground by competing with corporate giants by producing nutritional products. Sesimandla, you are welcome. Good evening.
Good evening, Sesi, Rhulani, and the viewers and listeners at home. And thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Sesimandla. We are excited to have you tonight. I know our listeners will never remain the same. Someone is waiting for your testimony to be encouraged to know that as a mother, you can still go out and attain your vision, because as mothers, we are called to be mothers by design. That's what God has ordained for us to be. But God has also called all of us to do something in this world. It doesn't matter you are a woman or you are a man. There is something that God has laid in you. I am excited. I know my listeners, you will be encouraged today. Those who are waking already, those who are feeling overwhelmed, we shall be encouraged tonight. And those who feel, your calling is in an area where it's historically or traditionally a male-dominated area, I know you'll be excited tonight to listen to the testimony of Sis Felicia Purawatu. Sis Felicia, you are welcome. Good evening.
Evening, Sister Rhulani, and
Sis
the viewers
Felicia
all over.
Thank you, Sis Felicia. Sis Felicia, she's a manager within Transnet. What is exciting with her, she started down from the bottom as a train driver. So some of us, we are called, you feel that desire to be in a male-dominated career, and you feel maybe it's not possible. But I know today with her testimony, what she has gone through, you shall see that it is possible whilst we are mothers. And I have with me, unfortunately, because of load shedding, Dr. Tembani. Dr. Tembani is a psychiatrist by profession. She's our resident psychiatrist, a mental health practitioner within the show. Unfortunately, because of load shedding, she cannot join us through Zoom, but she's with us on the line. Dr. Tembani, you are welcome. Good evening.
Good evening, Sister Rhulani. Thank you very much and welcome all the listeners.
I know the listeners of Prudent Women know that once we hear Dr. Tembani's voice, we shall be balanced mentally. I would like to say, listeners, let's get ready to learn from all these women tonight as we continue to celebrate women. It is my belief and experience as a mother as well that, mothers, we've got so much demand upon our lives. At times we tend to be so overwhelmed. And at times you tell your family, I'm not well. And you cannot tell what is it that makes you not well. I have termed it a problem without a name, because you just feel, I don't know, I'm not well. You cannot point to it, but it is because of the desire and the make of a woman of wanting to have everything in order, of wanting to do everything, we tend to believe we're superhumans, but we definitely need someone to encourage us. We definitely need someone to guide us through in order for us to stay afloat and know what we ought to be doing. And as well, just that desire of wanting to do everything. Tonight, I also have within the show our guests, Ceci Aida and Sesnieleti. Says Aida and Sesnieleti are in Dubai right now. They went there as an incentive program for as network marketers. They went there as an incentive program, but they're not there to enjoy, but they're there to continue to learn and come back and continue to empower other mothers in our nation. Says Aida and says Nyeleti, you are welcome. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having us. Yes, we are live from Dubai.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening, viewers all over. We are right here in Dubai. That's nice.
Thank you very much. It's exciting. In today's mothers go all out. You can attest to that. But I would also like to welcome all of you, our listeners on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Bold Moves Radio. Tonight, because we want to learn together, we want you to be engaged. I invite you to send your questions if you have questions. Those who are on Facebook, you can continue and comment on Facebook. But if you have questions that you want us to pose to our guests tonight, you are welcome to send them via WhatsApp. The number for WhatsApp is 081 358 8745. 081 358 8745. Please, we would like to engage with you. We want to learn more. This is Prudent Woman for You, the show that desires to have women who are futuristic, women who look forward to the future, who get ready to say they do not want circumstances to take them by surprise, but we want to be ready. We want to be impactful as mothers, as sisters, as wives, as employees, as employers. This is a show for you. And I would also want to welcome even the fathers who have joined us, the men who are joining us. You are welcome, and don't feel left out, even if we focus on women, but it is because the show is for women, but what we discuss here affects all of us. Thank you very much. Right now, I would like to start talking to our guests. I will start with you, Sestakan. In this month, the month of May, as we celebrate mothers, how mothers are overwhelmed and how mothers have got so much demand upon them. But we look at your life and see someone, a woman who went all out. Today, according to your profile, you are the director of Moponi Properties. Can you take us through, Sestakan, what is it that you do, and how can you encourage women as mothers to hold on and actualize their careers? Sestakan.
Thank you, Rhulani. Thank you, viewers at home. I'm in the men's dominated industry. I do building and civil construction. I'm in real estate, property development, and I'm also an advocate for women empowerment. But what I will say to women out there, it doesn't matter your gender, your race. The only thing, and it doesn't matter how many times you have failed, you have tried, because with us women, it's not easy. Remember, whatever thing that you do, you have to do it better than the other race. But what I will say to you is, as a woman, you don't have to doubt yourself. And in business, you'll go through some difficulties. Sometimes you'll fail. I think I've closed down. I've failed so many times. And sometimes my family wouldn't believe in me anymore. I remember my mother telling me, it's not working. Maybe you should go out there and look for some employment. My children on the other side, because it was hard in my business, he will say, Mama, at least if you can work somewhere for me so that you'll be able to provide for me. I also thought of that to say, maybe they are right. Maybe I should consider doing what they're talking about. But you know, as a woman, I was persistent, and I told myself that no matter how many times I failed, it was a learning curve, and forward I go. And today, I'm not where I am because I didn't go through some obstacles. I think I've fallen maybe 10 times. I've closed my shops. I've lost everything. There were times that I never thought that I will do it. But somehow I managed to pick myself up. I look myself in a mirror. I find myself, and I told myself that I have to do it for my family. And today I'm proud to say, through all those failures and everything, it was just a learning curve. And if you are a woman at home, no matter how many times you have failed, but keep on pushing. You must not give up. As long as you are still alive, you have a dream, you have a vision, you have to believe that one day things is going to be okay. And the other thing that I can also say is keep on learning. And you know, when you meet people, you must also want to learn. That's how I managed to overcome my obstacles.
Thank you, Sister Sagan. You know, when I was going through your resume, what impressed me was one statement you've written there to say you do not have formal post-matric qualification, but you went all out and you understood the importance of education, that you continued to learn through short courses. That encouraged me so much, because what this woman has achieved, it's more than what some of the people with degrees, with masters have done. It showed me that with the zeal, with the will to do something, you can attain something. And Moponi Properties, it's such a brand, you know. When you're in Sentin, it's there, there's presence of Moponi Properties. So Sagani, just tell us, I know now we're connecting with you from Dubai. What is it that you're doing there?
Okay. As I said to you, that I'm an advocate for women empowerment. And women, or everyone at home, you know, when we come to Dubai, we are even afraid to tell people that we are going to Dubai, because Dubai is associated with slave queens,
Yes.
women that goes and buy clothes, and you know, you go to Dubai and make sure that you do things in different ways. But I'm here for business opportunities. I'm an ambassador of SA Women Do Dubai. So we are here for business. We have business women from Africa that came all just to come here to be empowered. We had a conference whereby we have women from South Africa, women from South Africa living in Dubai, women in the diaspora, women from South Africa living in the diaspora, where we meet together and share business ideas and share a lot of business opportunity. And then we learn, we are trained to transform each other.
Oh, thank you, Sister Khan. It's exciting, you know, because some of us on social media recently we have seen that Dubai was trending, more especially for women in South Africa, for the wrong things. People were saying you go to Dubai for shopping. And I'm glad to hear that there are those who go to Dubai for a good cause. And that shows those are the prudent women who are preparing for their future, going all out and seeking opportunities. We cannot learn when we remain in our own country, but we need to go all out and see what other countries are doing so that we can come back, not only to replicate it, but to come back and do better. You can only do better when you have seen someone and you stand in their shoulders. Thank you very much, Sister Gan, with the work that you are doing. We believe we shall learn so much tonight from you. And right now, I'll go to Sis Felicia. Sis Felicia, if you can unmute your video for me. Sis Felicia Purabatu, she is with Transnet. She is a manager at Transnet. But what excited me so much when I looked at her profile was that she started as a train driver and she's been a manager in the different levels. And for me, I asked myself, this woman, she has got 3 children. She is married. She's widowed, Ceci Felicia. May the soul of your husband continue to rest in peace. You know, she has all that some of us say are hindrances for us to make it, but she broke through a male-dominated industry. So, Felicia, can you take us through your journey with Transnet? I loved also the fact that you stayed with Transnet. I always believe executives who make it in an organization are executives who have grown with the organization because you know the ins and outs. So what I saw from your resume was a person who's dedicated to make a mark where they have been placed by God. And I saw that in you. You did not move from one place to another, but you have been very consistent with Transnet. And we see you at that executive level position as a mother, taking care of 3 children and a husband, and make it. Even when he left you, you continued and journeyed through. Says Felicia, can you share with us your journey?
Good evening once again, Sister Rhulani and the viewers. As I've already introduced myself, I'm Felicia Korabatu. Yeah, Sister Rhulani, the journey started long back. I remember very well as a young girl, I had a dream like any other girl. Normally when my teacher asked me, what do you want to be? I remember very well once responding to one of my teachers and say, I want to be in a male-dominant organization. Little that I know that today I'll be sitting here embracing this big brand of Transnet. Okay, firstly, before I continue, I just want to thank God for making it possible for me to reach where I am today. Not forgetting to thank my mom also. She's my pillar. She's my strength. She's been there through thick and thin. Sister Rhulani, after matriculating, I went to tertiary. After that, before I can even start looking for a job, I found myself in Transnet. I applied to be a train assistant. I entered Spornet through being a train assistant. And then after being train assistant for 3 years, I became a train driver. It was not easy. It was not easy. I remember I was the second group of ladies who entered Transnet. So it was very tough for us because whatever that is expected, for a woman to do it, you need to push double than the men. So it was very tough finding myself away from my family, finding myself have to go to work 00 midnight, leaving the kids with my husband. It was not an easy task. Sometimes it affects the family, but that's why I started by thanking God, because through it all, He gave me strength. And also He gave me the family that supported me. I continue my journey. I become a section manager, still in the field of rail. And then after being a section manager, I realized I need to understand more about this organization that I'm saving. Then I decided to apply on terminal side. I was appointed as a terminal manager. My intention there was to understand more about the organization. As a driver, my role was just to get the train ready, drive the train from point A to point B, but not knowing what is it that I'm doing to the country, what is it that I'm doing to the continent. So the moment I joined terminal side, that's where I realized that where I am, I'm an iron lady. I actually am making a difference to this continent. It seems as if we're just moving up and down the goods, but those commodities that we are moving, we are making a difference in this continent of ours. So while I'm there, I learned, and then I realized, yeah, it's time to move. And then I went back to rail side as a corridor manager. And then after that, I went to yard side. Currently, where I am, I'm in ops. So the journey was never easy. This is Rhulani. There are ups and downs as a woman, but what I need to say is as long as you focus, as long as you've got a vision, you dedicate yourself, you work hard, you will make it. So Felicia doesn't end at Transnet. There is Felicia after Transnet, as I've indicated. There is a Caring for Women project that I started. I just had the vision of, I just tell myself, if I can just see one little girl smiling, I'll sleep peacefully, which is what made me to start that project. So I started by just donating to the disadvantaged kids. And then I ended up finding one school towards Bredel side. I ended up donating the sanitary towel to that school. And then while I'm growing, I then decided to become a life coach. That decision of becoming a life coach, it's something that talks to me because I'm contributing in changing someone's life. So all in all, that's who Felicia is. Thank you, Sis Rhulani.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Streaming 24/7. 24/7. Bold Moves Radio. Africa, nakupenda sana. Oh, Africa, nakupenda sana.
Welcome. You're listening to me, Rhulani Baloyi, Prudent Woman. The radio is Bold Moves Radio. You are welcome and great to be with you tonight as we continue to celebrate the mothers of our country, South Africa, who are making their mark in different fields in the country. We've just been listening to Sis Felicia. Sis Felicia is with Transnet in a male-dominated industry. But, you know, this is a mother who wake up and go and make a mark as an executive within Transnet. But again, by the nature of being a mother, she still goes all out and have programs that are there to assist other women, young girls. Sis Felicia, we thank you. This is what we're looking for in mothers of our country. It is us mothers who, when we stand up, we can change the narrative of this country. As we continue with our show, I said tonight we've got giant mothers who are doing so well as mothers and as career women. I have for you, Sesi Mandla Mabunda. Sesi Mandla Mabunda, she challenged me. Whenever I see her, I just see one big corporate giant. I will not mention it by name, but I see her and I'm like, this woman, she's bold, wanting to stand against this giant, being in the nutritional foods industry. Sesi Mandla is a dietitian by qualification, but she did not stop there. She said, I want to go all out. I want to challenge these giants. Sesi Mandla, we are encouraged by what you are doing. And, with you, what I see, it's us as a country being true to what our forefathers, our liberators fought for. We keep on fighting and say, we want that one, we want that. But they started some of these things. And when I see people like yourself starting something from the scratch, these are things that we're building for our future. I see Masana, the products of Masana in the future, competing with corporate giants, being one of those. And I'm excited because I saw some of your products are with Pick and Pay. Sesi Mandla, can you tell us your journey? How did it come about that you are in this industry?
Thank you, Sesi Rhulani. And how it started, it was 10 years ago while I was still working for one of the corporate giants that you mentioned in the nutrition space. And I felt the need to go and come up with, good quality products that will improve the health, wellness of our people already, South Africa and Africa in general. So that's where Masana Dietitians was born. So we in the food manufacturing space where we make vitamin-enriched food products that are available now in retail, like you said, in some of the Pick and Pay stores and in some of the pharmacies like Link pharmacies all over Limpopo, we are available. And we are also using and also still looking for independent distributors who buy into our vision and who want to also improve the health and wellness of our people. We make products such as NutroBoost, which is a high vitamin and high protein product. You don't cook it, but you only mix it with water. That enhances your physical health and, mental welfare as well. So this is one product where you can now get all your essential vitamins and minerals, and therefore you don't need to go and buy multiple bottles of different types of vitamins, but you can get your all vitamins in one product. So that is what I do, Sesi Rhulani. And just to add a bit on the background, my father was a diabetic. So I saw my mother taking care of him, and I saw how food was one element that was critical in him knowing how to manage his condition. So when I grew up and I went to university, for me, I always say dietetics really called me because I didn't even know there was a profession called dietetics. I went there thinking I was going to study medicine. But now dietetics called me, and when I could relate to what was happening to my father, then I had this, passion in me to go out there and make a difference. I believe really food is one thing that if we can all change about our lives and start focusing on that, we can actually improve our quality of lives. So that is the long and short story of how Masana Dietitian started. And yes, I'm very happy to be part of this program, and I'm hoping that someone will get inspired by our story and other women, powerful women that are on the platform with me. So thank you, sis.
Thank you, Sesi Mandla. We are encouraged, and I see women here, even young ladies who are to the mothers of the future, saying, I see a lady saying, from here, I'm going back to my books. I'm encouraged by these mothers, how they have grown in their careers. And of course, it is through hard work and zeal that will make us to achieve as mothers. You still listening to Bold Moves Radio? You are welcome. We are with you, our listeners, on Facebook, YouTube, and Bold Moves Radio. I see the comments on Facebook, questions our listeners are engaging. I see Sestakani Mildred saying hard work and perseverance is the best key in life. Nothing comes easy. Oh, that's very true. And what we're seeing from these women that we are hosting today, these mothers, we see their zeal. And I will tell you that each one of them has got a family that they are taking care of. But over and above being mothers, they continue to make their mark in the marketplace. Listeners, we have with us our family, Sesi Aida and Sesinyeleti. They are also in Dubai at this point in time through an incentive program for one of the products that they are network marketers for. We have requested them to join us just for them to be with us and listen. We're going to have them in the show because we see how things are changing in the future, how things are changing. Network marketing, it's one way of creating an income for yourself. And we will have a session where Prudent women, we are going to be learning on how one can be a network marketer. And I want to highlight, today that being a network marketer does not mean you only market international products. You can also market our very own products that we are developing or producing in our country. Because as a country and as mothers, we care for the future. We also do not want to just be selling, but we want whatever that we're selling to create jobs. So for instance, Ceci Mandla was telling me that she is looking for product marketers for Masana products, and they can be network marketers. She already has got a model of the crashes where the people who are working in a crash sell to the parents of the children that they are taking care of, and they get incentivized. Welcome, our family in Dubai. How are you doing?
Hey, good evening, listeners of Bold Moves Radio. We are here in Dubai, very interesting, very encouraged. And we are not here just to run around, but we are here for a purpose. As you have already indicated that you can do network marketing for different products. Personally, I became a network marketer through Superlife, which is a company originally from Malaysia, but I happened to become a member or a distributor here in South Africa, and which out of it, there is a lot of things that I have achieved health-wise and even financially. I'm not gonna highlight or I'm not gonna describe how the products are or how do they work, as they've already indicated that I've got my core business partner here is Nyeleti. We call ourselves leaders. I've got leader Nyeleti with me. She's going to take us through in terms of what is it that we are networking and why are we here in Dubai, and what are the things that one needs to have to become a network marketer, and what are the products that we are selling. Over to you, my leader.
Okay, I think it's now good evening or good late afternoon in South Africa. Here in the evening, we are 2 hours ahead. Mabunda Mashabe, one of the distributors. We are here in Dubai because as a member of Superlife, you needed to reach a particular level or achievement in order for you to be attending this summit. So we are attending a summit, leadership summit, It's not only South Africans, it's all over the world. Every country is represented here. And what we are doing is we are going to be learning more about our product. Our product, it's a Super Life product. It specializes in stem cells. We all know that plants and our human bodies, we are related. So most of the things that are happening to our plants, we also going through the same process. So what the stem cells does, they help to rejuvenate our bodies. They help to repair our damaged cells, because as we grow, we tend to lose some of the active cells. In my language, we say, we call them masocha ya miri. Masole ameli. So we need masole ameli in order for us to make sure that we keep up with our growth. We keep up with the challenges that we faced with as we grow in terms of health challenges. So what the stem cells does, it takes you back to originality.
We'll have a session specifically focusing on the products, because we only left with 20 minutes. May I request that? Yeah, we'll have a session for But what we wanted now was for you to tell us what you're doing there, that you're going to learn as mothers. We continue to learn, and you can never say you have learned enough. Thank you very much. I see our listeners are interacting, asking questions. Says Felicia, there's a question for you. Our listeners are asking, how did you motivate yourself to stay motivated within the environment where you're operating, when we look at sexism and gender discrimination?
Thank you for the question, Sister Rhulani. As I've indicated, as a woman, finding yourself in a male-dominated organization is not an easy task, but you need to set some goals for yourself. You need to have targets as a human being to say, I, as Chipiwa, I want to see myself maybe in 2 or 3 years to come as a whatever. You've got choices. You label them, you put them in front of you. And then by doing that, you must every time be honest with yourself, whether you are still at the right track in order for you to achieve. But all in all, what needs to be done, as one of the ladies have already indicated, you need to equip yourself. In order for the male to notice you, you need to equip yourself. You need to be a hard worker. Actually, as a woman, you need to go extra mile, because we all know it takes time for other gender to notice us, to say, we are here. It needs more effort. For them, it takes only 1-2 steps. But for a woman, you need to be able to stand and say, I'm in this boardroom and I'm here to stay. So that's how I found myself pushing all this while. And I also thank the people who were around me. They didn't give up on me. I had people that keeps on motivating me, that keeps on telling me, don't give up. You can do this. So I've got people who mentor me throughout the journey. So you really need people like that in your life. So that's how I hang on there. That's how I motivated myself till now, Sister Rhulani. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Ceci, Felicia. We see that it takes more effort for a mother to make it, because you have to break through the gender stereotypes, but we are encouraged to hear of mothers like yourselves, what you have done. Ceci Mandla, there's a question for you saying, how did you get funding for a new venture? We know in South Africa, when we talk business, the first question that as previously disadvantaged groups like the Blacks, we say the main hindrance is access to finance. Question is saying, how did you get funding for a new venture for that matter?
Thank you for the question, Ceci. For me,
You have muted yourself, Sis Mandla.
Thank you, Ceci, for the question. I actually had to save up on my pension when I resigned from my previous employer. And fortunately, I had been granted with a contract to supply for Department of Education, like school feeding program. So when we started, we did not have any government funding. It was only later, and that's one thing that maybe I can bring in this time, that if someone wants to do this type of thing or start their own business, the best thing is to save up, because unfortunately our government only looks at you when they see you, now you are doing something. It's almost as if they want to check your skin in the game or how serious you are about this. But normally, based on your business plan alone, it's very rare. It's possible, but highly very rare. So I would advise anyone to start by saving your pension or saving somewhere, and then start. And once people start seeing that you're doing something and you're not giving up, then they're more than willing to open up. We've been approached by the likes of your SEDA, your small enterprise development agencies. We have your NEF and some that are privately owned grants that they approach you once they see you working. But there is a few agencies that are open to funding your initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Sesimandla. Yes, of course, this confirms to us that if you want to make it, you must persevere. And perseverance means you should be able to take risks to a certain level. And it's encouraging that we hear that you took a risk. And I can understand why funders will not fund you in the beginning before they see how your concept looks like. Who wants to put money in something that you do not believe in, except the person who is the owner of that concept? So we are encouraged, and I think this will help some of us, because I know there are mothers who are out there wanting to start a business, but they have got the feeling that someone must bring the money, but it means start somewhere. I always say an entrepreneur does not really need money to start the business. What you need is your brains. And you confirm that for us, Ceci Mandla. Coming right back to you, Ceci Tsakan, of Muponi Properties. Property development sector, I'm not talking about just male dominated, but it's one sector that is not yet transformed. We still have white people occupying that space, and they are doing their best to make sure that we stay out. How did you make it to penetrate such a market?
It was not easy. It was not easy, but through the networks, through the learning, through the short courses that I've done, maybe with the NHBRC, through other women that they were willing to assist us to grow, how I did with the property development, there was a club that I was playing with other women. So each and every month we were saving money. And when we save money, each and every, like for 12 months, after 12 months, we buy one woman a property. That's how it started. So after, we are still doing that, but after that, I started to see that, okay, this thing is working. How would I do it on my own? As Ceci there said, that it's not easy to find funding. We bought a plot, then we started on our own. But because we make sure that whatever that we are doing, we do it accordingly. And then quality, it was our motto. Then people started to approach us. So, do you want Moponi Property Management? Can you please build a house for us? So we started by one house. After building one house, and then now the clients started to come. Then we started to advise them. We started to work with professionals like the architects, the bond originators, the banks, and then we started to make sure that whatever things that we are giving to the client is quality. And then that's when we started the property development. So that's when we grow. And then we also help people to get bond, because some people, they want to do it. And then we also help people to manage their finances. If their credit score is not okay, and then we work on their credit score. So that's how we started with the property development. And we started to grow. Now, Moponi, we have an estate that is called Moponi Estate. And now we are growing. We are also planning to, we are busy with the development in RTPS, where we are building houses that are affordable, because we have realized that we started with the high up market houses, but most of our government employees or the middle class, they don't afford those houses. So now we are busy with something that everyone can afford.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Streaming 24/7. 24/7. Gold Moons Radio. Africa, nakupenda sana. Oh, Africa, nakupenda sana.
Welcome back. You are listening to Bold Moves Radio. The show is Prudent Woman with myself, Rhulani Baloyi, taking place every Saturday, 6 o'clock until 7 o'clock. Thank you for joining us, and I trust that you are learning. Thank you, Sister Kani. You know, you can see, I believe you are with me, listeners. From these mothers, we see solutions for our country. Sister Kani is talking about building houses for the gap market, something that is a challenge for the government. Ceci Felicia, she's in Transnet. She sees herself making or providing solutions for our people as a country. We've got Ceci Mandla. Ceci Mandla, it's working on products that help with nutritional needs for our nation. So you can agree with me with that. All these women, they have found their space. What is stopping you? What is stopping you from waking up and starting to do something? Because it is my belief that God has called each one of us. It doesn't matter you are a man or you are a woman. You are a mother by how God has designed you. But God has placed you in this earth to be a solution giver. There is something that God wants you to do. And I encourage you, mothers, in this show, there is no way we can go back and fold our arms when we see other mothers are doing it. Overwhelmed as they are, all of them have got children. All of them have got families who demand from them, but they are still able to persevere and make a mark in this demanding world. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, mothers. We cannot appreciate you enough. Ceci Nyeleti and Ceci Aida, they are out there providing for their families. Gone are the days where a mother should stay and not know how to provide for their children, for their families. When you can be a network marketer and make an income to take care of your family. Thank you very much, ladies. We are encouraged, and we thank you because you are providing solutions for this nation. But I still go back to say, as mothers, by virtue of us being mothers, how God has called us, we are overwhelmed. We every day wake up and say, I am tired. I do not know. Sometimes we don't even tell those who are around us. You keep quiet, you hold on to it and journey on. I have coined it and said, it is a problem with no name, because even yourself, you cannot name that problem. And it is exhaustion. It is being overwhelmed by the demands of this world, by the demands of your immediate family members. Today with us, we have got Dr. Tembani. Dr. Tembani is our resident mental health. Dr. Tembani, welcome. She's joining us through the phone because she's got load shedding. Our apologies for that. But you will be able to hear her. Dr. Tembani, can you hear me?
Yes, Sister Rona, I can hear you.
Thank you, Dr. Tembani. Listening to all that these women are doing, you can agree that obviously these women are overwhelmed. And if they do not take care of their mental health, of themselves, they can be burned out. And I think that's what has led some of us to give up in our dreams, because we could not identify that problem without a name. What can you advise us? What are the signs that a woman, a mother should look for, or what should they do to make sure that they stay put and are able to realize their dreams?
Thank you very much, Sister Ran. I will try to shorten everything. Thank you to all the listeners and to all our giant women. The common things about these giant women is that they are mothers and they are businesswomen, and they've built their careers and they are running different businesses. So that on its own is overwhelming. So it means as a mother, you need to be somewhere where you are balancing two things, and you will be in the center, you will be the center of gravity of what you are balancing. So on the other side, you will have your children or a child, and on the other side, you will have your career, and you also have a business that you are running or a job that you are doing or people that you are managing. So I call it how to balance a seesaw. So if you have this seesaw as a mother, being the center of gravity in the middle, it means you have your children and other things on the other side. So in order not to be overwhelmed, it means you need to know how to balance your seesaw as the mother. So as you're doing this, in order to avoid being overwhelmed, it means you need to balance between your children and everything that you are doing, because you need to provide for your children. So you need to wake up and go and work. And you also have a task that God gave you, that you must raise a child and teach your child in a way that even when they are old, they will remember. So doing both those tasks, it means you are going to get tired, you are going to be overwhelmed, and you are going to be stressed, as they are both stressful. And unfortunately, at some point, some women do give up and don't focus on their careers or lose their businesses. And unfortunately, on the other hand, there are relationships between your children and your family which can be distorted as you are busy trying to do both those things. So I will say the most important thing when you are balancing your seesaw is either you put two things that you are trying to balance, the weight of those two things on both ends. It means the weight must be equal so that your seesaw can balance. Unfortunately, in real life, it's not like that. Your children and your career are not equal. So the second way of balancing your seesaw is to take the subject or the object with more weight and put it closer to you when you are at the center and trying to balance it. And you put the subject with the lesser weight on the end of your seesaw, which means as a mother, we need wisdom to know that my children and what I'm doing, how do I interact with my children? How do I support my children? How do I keep my children closer to me so that I don't lose the relationship with them while I'm trying to build my career, while I'm trying to run my business, while I'm trying to be the manager at work. So that's how we need to balance. And if we can learn that, then we'll have healthy relationships with our children. Having a healthy relationship with your family, with your children, it's already contributing to your healthy mind. But once that is distorted, you might have difficulties throughout your life in those relationships. And also, building your career is also very important, because in order to take care of your children, you need that business, you need that career, you need that income. So we need to balance on that. Another thing as we are businesswomen running different businesses, or we are managers, or we are the bosses, wherever we are, we must always remember that every time when pride start overcoming a person, then what follows that pride is a disgrace. And also, where there is humility, then there is wisdom. We must learn as mothers, as women in power, to learn to wear different hats wherever we are. Because you will wear a hat as a mother, you will wear a hat as a manager, you will wear a hat as a wife, you will wear a hat as the in-law, or as the sister, or as a friend, as a community builder. Once we fail to balance that, also, it creates relationship problems. What makes our lives miserable most of the time is when the relationships with the loved ones, or all the significant relationships are distorted. So we must be very careful about that when we are trying to build our career, or when we are up there. We must always remember to wear different hats. Like when I'm a manager at work, I wear this hat. When I get home to my children, to my husband, I have to wear this hat. It's so sad that there are other people, because they are in power, they are up there, they don't even have any person to remind them anything, to advise them anything, to tell them anything, because you are this woman, everyone look at you up there. But it's very touching when you look at it closer, because you find that somebody's up there and they forget that they're human beings. They need to be humble. They need to take out the pride so that they can be able to maintain relationships. I'm talking about this because most of the time when there are mental health issues, it's when the relationships are distorted. So even when we continue going up there, let's be very careful about that. I think the time is against us. I was just more concerned about the relationship and reminding all the powerful women that when we're building ourselves, when we're building our career, and when we get up there, let's remember who we are at the same time so that we can have healthy mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Temban. That's very true, because what's important is always to make sure that your relationships are well maintained. And that's what us women are mainly accused of. What you have touched on, relationships, you find that the family says you are neglecting us because you are a manager. And being humility, you must remain humble. It doesn't matter what position you are at, but you must always be able to recognize where you are, because different places calls for